tell, then you see the road. I'm out to my soul into the size. Whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture perfect.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of, What If My Little Pony Meets Ranma? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of JBoy44 on fanfictionnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Out in the mountains, Ranko was standing on a pole, sports top and normal pants as she said, "What? As a girl I am more level-headed. If I have a hope of mastering this CRP, it'll be in female form." Kasumi held a chin, that I true male Ranma is angry and power fighter, female is level-headed agile fighter. Wait, the ultimate weakness thing, it says it takes away strength. In a moment shampoo throw rocks and Ranko's eyes widen as she grabbed them out of mid-air like normal before she did a triple backflip off the pole, landing on her feet smiling. Cologne then watched Ranko go to punch the pole only to scream in pain, still no strength but everything is intact. Good to know we have a loophole should the Soul of Ice training fail. Yukio held up her hand, wait, I just thought of something, if Ranko still maintains the skills her male self doesn't have agility and speed, we can use that. If this fails, I mean Twilight's added escape function is beating Hapasai doesn't say it, what it could be a raise a flip contest, anything really. The old Amazon nodded as she said, fine logic, but Ranko has made her choice of how she wants to do this. The redhead nodded as she said, okay, let's do this. It seemed like days, but long before Ranko went for an uppercut on Sombra, sending him up a few inches by way of chi tornado, a small one, but it was something the bicorn in human form noted as he said, not much, but she did it. Ranko was happily doing a victory dance as she said, yes. Rarity was watching, fanning herself with a folding fan in human form. That's all fine and dandy, Ranko darling, but it still wasn't enough to call a victory. Pinkie Pie was in pony form as she nodded, and the information form the boys and the other tendos is showing Hapasai is being super happy having made you run, he won't have the rage need to really use it. Applejack landed in Alicorn form as she said, yes, AHS just wants to checks that out. Varmint is on cloud 9. Twilight in human form then spoke up, well, my fellow members of Team Ranma, for lack of a better term. The answer is simple, we need to provoke him, he is a simple creature, so that should be easy. Rainbow was in Alicorn form sitting on a cloud watching her job to catch anyone if they fly off, yeah. Fluttershy was sitting in human form, her boyfriend's pig form riding in her top as she said, okay, now so possible bikini photo shoot aside, can we focus on this skill for crying out loud? Ranko nodded. A few days later Ranko jumped out before Hapasai, I will get the cure for my brother, the former old man walked off not doing a thing. Ranko then ripped off her outfit to show a red bikini striking a pose, come on look at me. I have diamond dogs in a little red bikini, come on lose it you dirty old man. Hapasai laughed, please the old lady leaves, I know what you learned, it'll take more than flaunting the figure you got from your mother to beat me, but thanks anyway. Ranko growled before flipping to avoid some random guy grabbing him, that's a crime as. Later at the tendos Ranko walked up as she said, anyway the bus driver said the ride was free, but now this is going to be hard, she was saying this to Nabiki. Nabiki was resting her chin on her hands at her chin, and what does this Fung Fu SHT have to do with me? The redhead rolled her eyes and said, why simple, I would like to place an order for the freakiest nasty naughtiest underthings you have for me and my brides. Ultra Yuri is need. I'll also let you take pictures to use as the ad page for them for free. The Tendo sister shivered, but one of those ladies is my older sister. You can have the SHT for free and have the camera for free rent, just don't put those images of my sister in my head, she said, running away screaming in mental horror at what her mind was picturing, stop it brain. Rarity was shivering as she said, I will have to burn that sewing machine when this order is done, she shivered at it. Pinkie Pie popped up in human form flat-haired as she said, he F with my almost a brother/sister I am in. Next day Ranko dressed in her normal outfit stood before Hapasai in the schoolyard, everyone watching when she reached into her top and pulled out pictures and held them out. What they sewed we can't say but enjoy everyone's reactions. Celestia screamed using her hands to cover Shinjitsu's eyes. Have you no shame, woman? She yelled, slipping into the royal Canterlot speaking voice. Kubo was screaming about his sister being involved in it. Pinkie Pie was hiding her face in shame. My shame to save a friend, I did, Yuri with pictures. Akane and Nabiki were hugging and crying over bad mental images of their big sister. Twilight was one of many women covering her boyfriend's eyes as many boyfriends returned it as she said, you are AF goddamn good friend Pinkie Pie and a naughty girl. Who needs a spanking? Another one as the case may be will never unsee. Hapasai eyes were widened, his aura still not flaring, and Ranko smiled and said, get a good look at this. Because we destroyed the negatives and this are the only copies. She then ripped them to shreds, then blow a kiss to him. And now it's gone forever. The former old man's aura flared in rage at the image's destructions as Ranko charged only for the woman to appear cold as ice and go for an uppercut, summoning a massive chi tornado that picked up and sent their principal flying several feet in the air as winds raged around. When it was over, the man landed face down on the school roof, knocked out cold. Ranko had defeated Hapasai in combat for good. The redhead smiled as she felt energy enter her, and she kicked a stone wall leaving a creator in it, and she smiled, she was free. Later on, Ranko was back to Ranma, smiling as he was breaking stones with his fist happily. Oh, how I messed you, my hard-earned strength. Pinkie's hair was puff again and she was happily spinning. Yes, we beat Hapasai with his youth back and a bigger stronger body, and since Ranko isn't a student, Ranma can't be punished for all that destruction and knocking the F out of the him in self-defense. F yeah, we win. He loses, we beat his ass. She said, shaking her peach happily at being there for the first lose of Hapasai. Ranma and the Tendo sisters' fathers bowed before Ranma for doing what they thought was impossible, beating Hapasai. In the dojo, Applejack was being hugged by a large ghost cat. You're wearing the bell, so you most marry me now. That is when Doku walked out and came back in with a water bottle and dumped it on himself, turning into his war god form. First thing he did was crush the bell around the band AJ had around her human form's neck and pull her out of the cat's arms with his left arms. His right arms then start throwing lightning and fireball at the cat. As the angry head yelled, I will kill you 10 times so you stay dead, waifu stealer. Later on, the ghost cat was driving along the bottom of the ocean where he hit a box, and in a moment he screamed as he was sucked in, and Eris came out as a ghost. There, you take my place in stone. As a ghost, Eris was floating away monitoring her enemies unseen. Kuno was slashing at Ranma, stating he would still claim Pinkie Pie and Rarity as his wives. Ranma just kept avoiding energy waves, using a staff like a pole vaulting lance to use agility like he was Ranko. Rarity and Pinkie Pie were watching a movie and eating ice cream, crying, clearly sad over still being single. The other ponies were with boyfriends. Shampoo was training Kasumi in swordsmanship with wooden sabers. Yukio was cooking, Kodachi was working on trick clubs, while Nabiki was selling pegacorn pictures to one of those tabloids online. Ginma stuck in panda forms miles away, happily being some little rich kid's pet. The father of the Tendos was running as Hapasai was angry at him for some reason, yelling, Akane most takes swimming lessons with me or she fails. Akane herself was with Mouse working on martial arts skills with her. Eris sighed, this people are all boring. She said flatly. That is when Discord showed up and looked at her, and you're a dirty peeper spying on those I care about. Eris put her ghostly hands on her peach. Oh my dear cousin, anything you can do to help Abby out. Discord said, I am not a therapist or a boyfriend, honey. So no and PSS off away form, my friends. The next day, Celestia was happily flying through the skies with Shinjitsu in his alicorn form close behind as he flew around his mother happily. I finally got it, he said happily. The former princess smiled as she nuzzled him right quick. Yes, you are. She said, so proud of him, but little did they know things were about to take a turn. She looked down below to a drifting island, her eyes widened at the sight of it. Is that island moving? She asked out loud. Shinjitsu nodded as he said, gee, I thought that was just a legend, but nope, looks like Tajenkyo Island is real. The white alicorn held a hoof to her chin and said, "Shinjitsu mommy wasn't born in this world, care to enlighten her as to the story." The little colt said, held his chin, "It was the feudal age, a lord of a small land had many daughters but no sons, he growled and hated his wife for this, thinking she wanted to end his dynasty. After all, when wed one of the daughter's husbands would take over, leading to that man's family being lords of his land." Celestia rolled her eyes. "We have a similar story back home, but gender roles reversed, and let me guess, he found a way to get wishes granted." The young male alicorn nodded as he said, "Yes, he offered half of all his treasure to whichever one of the 7 lucky gods would answer his praise. And Dekokuten appeared, the god's magic hammer, granting wishes by making his world law of the land he banged it on. The god, also being one of the 5 grains, offered the king not 1 but 3 wishes for the treasure, but warned him his wish would be granted as he said." Celestia nodded, still rubbing her chin with a hoof, as the story's outcome was pretty clear. As her son said, the king wished for only sons to be born. He wished no one to leave or invited his homeland, and he wished for his wife, who only gave him daughters to pay. The god banged his hammer and declared no woman within his land would be able to birth a daughter. "Your land shall now be an ever-moving island. So no one will be able to find it twice. And your daughters and wife shall die." The former sun god's eyes widened in horror at the declares as her son finished, so it became no woman could bear a daughter, and any who would become the king's wife would die, leaving the king without a way to continue his line. His dynasty ended completely, as no woman would bear his son out of wedlock or even look at the one who unleashed this curse upon them. Celestia blinked at this and said, "So that island is either empty or is a gender flip of the Amazon story, as they are men who most abduct women to continue their lines and keep the place from being a ghost town." He nodded, and the two went down to land on it. It was quite no animals bigger than bugs made sense, as bugs could reproduce asexually or come and go as pleased, keeping plant life, but no animals, showing the curse affects animals as well. The two trotted along, coming to a burned-down castle. As she said, "The villagers most have burned down his castle." Shinjitsu then pointed to one massive peach tree which appeared to have rooms and a city carved into it while still alive. The pair of alicorns looked at it